So we have a good list of questions to go through. And maybe I start by making use of my own situation. Among the many delightful conditions coming to visit my body, I have now got urticaria. This is a red rash which covers my body and legs and arms and is very, very itchy. So, what to do from the Dharma point of view when these things happen to us? In a general Dharma way, we can think, oh, I'm in samsara. This is just another suffering in samsara. In all the 6 realms of samsara, different kinds of suffering arise. In this lower realms, like the hell realms, the hungry ghosts, the animal realms, their situation is much worse than for us as human beings. So then you do some shamatha and vipassana in order not to identify so much with what is happening. From a more Mahayana point of view, we can do tonglen or exchange practice, so that when we have suffering, we offer all our we use our suffering as a basis for inviting all the suffering of all beings to come to us, and we offer all our happiness to others. These are methods of decentering our ego self. The ego says, give me happiness and take away my suffering. But from this Mahayana practice, we do exactly the opposite. And by doing this practice again and again, we can see, oh, the egocentric interpretation of the situation and response to the situation that says, me first, protect me. This is just a pattern of concepts which create a kind of castle within which the ego would like to live. And from the general tantric point of view, whatever arises for us is the blessing of the deity. Oh, our normal self-referential interpretation is, this feeling is very unpleasant, I don't want it, it should go away. Well, the basis for this approach is, I know what is happening to me, I don't like this, this is wrong, this is bad. But when we enter into the mandala of Padmasambhava or Tantra, we see that this mandala, or this circle of all inclusivity, has no other. There is nothing else outside it. All forms are the form of Padmasambhava, all sensations are the sensation of Padmasambhava. So when we have pain, when we have irritations in the body, when we have disabilities, in every situation that our ego self would say, this is a diminishing limitation, this is shrinking me as a person, then we need to recognize this is an interpretation based on unawareness of our presence in the mandala. And we, by not going into a reaction against the sensation, we stay with it and we see that it is impermanent. There is no substance, no inherent existence to the sensation. It comes and it goes, comes and it goes. It is ungraspable. This is the blessing of Padmasambhava. So if we relax and open that this is blessing, the sensation doesn't stop, it just keeps flowing through, and there is nothing to react against. When we find ourselves tightening against this sensation and we think, I don't want this, this is not good, I wish it would stop, then in that moment you can recognize, oh, I have fallen into this frame of duality. There is a sensation. For me, it is unpleasant. It is persecuting me. So there is subject and object, and the connection between the two, which is my identification. When this happens, you can do the mantra, for example, of Padmasambhava, or just imagine this, the four lights of initiation, the white light from the forehead, red light from the throat, blue light from Padmasambhava's heart, flowing into you, and your body becomes light and clear so that sensation passes straight through. Then, from the point of view of Dzogchen, everything is grounded in the source, which is ungraspable. The source is not somewhere else. It's not coming from someplace to me and somehow landing on me. At this very moment, this is the radiance of the Dharmakaya. When I seem to catch the sensation and say, this is horrible, I don't like it, all that I catch is my own misleading conceptual interpretation. Well, then you can do the Guru Yoga of the white hour, or you can relax into the out breath and just be present with whatever is arising. Oh, with our familiar example of the mirror, our awareness is like the mirror. It is open and empty. It has no content of its own. What arises in the mirror, the reflection, is not identical with the open, empty mirror, nor is it something other. Oh, this is just the continuity of all the Dharma teachings. Dzogchen is not something completely different. It's simply a refinement of a basic position of the middle way. And the middle way runs between all extremes. Oh, in particular, there is the extreme of saying, this is very good and I want more of it, so we try to hang on to it. Or on the other extreme, we say, this is very bad, I don't like it, I want to get rid of it. So essentially we're saying, whatever is occurring has something to do with me. This is the meaning of ego. The whole vast diversity of our experience is about me, is about me. So our task is to simply relax or ease ourselves out of this identification that I am the one who is being battered by experience. So then we see, oh, my mind, this presence, this awareness has no substance to it. Everything that occurs is passing through this space. In the moment of its revelation, it's just this, and it can seem very intense, and then it's gone. And by sitting and not reacting, we see that the trouble arises not from what we might take to be the object, the pain or the irritation. This problem arises from the dualistic involvement with the arising. Because if we situate ourselves in a place of involvement in which, as experiences are arising, we are evaluating them in terms of their value for our ego self, we will be endlessly involved in mental activity. This is good, this is bad, I like this, I don't like that. This doesn't tell us the truth about the phenomenon. The nature or the truth of all phenomena is that they are ungraspable. Nor does it tell me about the truth about myself. Because all the constituents of what I take to be myself are arising and passing. They vanish and cannot be held on to. But we sit, relax, open, and we disidentify. In fact, the disidentification is not really an activity. It is simply the not doing of identification with the whatever is occurring. many, many occurrences happen and they're gone. Sometimes it looks like subject, sometimes it looks like object. Neither subject nor object has any inherent existence or true reality. So when we sit with the arising and passing, we see the potential of the mind to demonstrate many forms. None of them are reliable. So the great difference between being imprisoned in limitation or finding liberation from limitation lies in whether one fabricates or imagines truly existing entities. So whatever life offers us in terms of success or failure or happiness or sorrow, we can always get closer to the heart of the issue by relaxing out of the veil of conceptual interpretation and staying naked and fresh with the immediacy. It's not that we arrive at a place where no difficulties occur. Rather, it's that we see these difficulties don't occur for me. The chocolate cake is in the middle of the table. You don't need to take it and lock it in the cupboard so that you won't eat it. And you don't need to take a spoon and keep eating the cake until it's all vanished. It's just there. According to circumstances, we can activate a relating to the cake or not. Well, this relates to the first question we have here. Where somebody is saying that they do a lot of practice of trekcho and tantra, and while they're sitting, they don't feel troubled by the variety of experiences. But when the time for sitting practice is over and there is more sense of participating in a world with the beings who are troubled by their sense of their own limitation, then, of course, we have a choice. What shall I do? How shall I respond? If we are going to be free to relate to people in as close a way as possible, then we can't formulate how to respond or behave according to some rule book or template. Otherwise, we have a triangulation. There's self, there's the other person who has some difficulty, and then there is a frame of reference. How will I make sense of this? How shall I work out the best thing to do? Well, you can think, oh, I'll pray for these people, or I'll do practice and dedicate merit in order to benefit them. That's not a bad thing to do, of course, but it's not intimate. When people tell us about the topology of their life, the actual profile that they are inhabiting, this is something quite unique and specific in the moment. Oh, the questioner asks further, can I trust my intuition? Can I trust my spontaneous response? I have a feeling to respond, or I find myself responding in this way. Is it okay? We need to remember, as Namkhai Norbu said many, many times, do not enter into judgment. We judge things because we don't want to make a mistake. We want to try to work out what is the right way to respond. But then again, we are trapped inside a dualistic structure because we have a kind of quality control going on inside us. We find ourselves saying something, doing something, and being hopefully useful to the other person, but we're monitoring it. We're carrying out some evaluation. And through the addition of concepts to try to ensure that we're doing the best we can, we are actually abandoning the integrity or the wholeness of the ground. I want to do my best. I don't want to harm. I want to help. They are there, and I am going to come towards them bearing some offering of how I am in order to be useful. When we do this, we are starting in the wrong place. We need to maintain the openness of a sitting practice so that the empty open ground is the ground of this complex moment of interaction. From emptiness arises the interplay of subject and object, the co-emergence of all the factors of the field. Only from a conceptually mediated point of view am I doing my best to help this other person. As with the example of the mirror, what arises in the mirror is a reflection. It's not something solid. What I take to be the other person is a site of manifestation of the potential of the ground. I also am a manifestation of the potential of the ground. In this space of unborn openness, there is this immediate interplay of these two potentials giving rise to a particular form. And what occurs is contact. Not contact of me to you or me with you, but the contact of the movement of the potential unseparated from or integral with the ground. I'm not doing it to them. They're not doing something to me. If we stay in the connection, we have the co-emergence or the sahaj, the hlundrup, the togetherness of the formations of the field. How will I know if it's good? This, of course, is an anxiety of the ego. You cannot know if it is good. So maybe you talk with someone who is very upset about something in their life. And you talk about the problems in different ways. And at the end, you might say, well, I hope this has been helpful for you. Maybe they say, yes. What are they talking about? The words have gone by. Both facial expressions have changed. Postures, gestures have changed. The contact was undeniable, but it was never a thing. When you try to evaluate and judge, you conceptualize and reify, and then you are talking about ideas and not about the immediacy of the contact. It's not about knowledge. Awareness and knowledge are not the same. We live in a world of knowledge, of information. You can accumulate more and more information. This is what computers do, with gathering all this data together. Awareness is not doing this. It's not constructing, it's not building. It stays naked and fresh in the moment. Each moment is naked and fresh. So if the ego gets anxious and you want to know, but am I doing okay? Do you agree with me? I could do it another way if you prefer. You've already lost yourself and the other person. Because when we try to establish what has happened. We are in the world of whats, of things. The advantage of that is you can compare and contrast. Was this conversation more useful to you than the conversation we had last week? Inside the frame of reference of our usual human communication, that's a reasonable question to ask. But actually, what we're thinking about and talking about is shadows and ghosts and smoke. If I say, oh, what happened between us last week? This doesn't exist. The past is gone. And where I'm thinking about the past, I'm entering into a labyrinth of concepts. I'm trying to work out what is going on so that my mental activity, the application of my knowledge and intelligence, is the means for guaranteeing a true understanding. Then it's all about me. I am the reference point. So when we talk of Mahamudra as the great seal or the seal of emptiness, it means everything is sealed within emptiness, within the mandala, within the dharma dhatu. Nothing is coming from anywhere else and nothing goes anywhere else. Emptiness is the seal. But the ego has no access to this. The ego uses concepts, ideas, judgments, comparisons in order to establish a frame of reference. So, as long as we are using concepts to try to make sense of the situation, we will be very, very busy. It's not about self-indulgence. Oh, it'll be fine because I did it. When we stay directly in the moment of contact, where subject and object are co-emergent, or the outer situation and the inner situation are co-emergent, this is a play, like a play of a mirage. There is occurrence, yet nothing happens. There is nothing to grasp hold of. It's already vanishing. This moment is so brief, so brief. So this is why the texts always say we need to free ourselves from the 3 times, because this is a terrible sandwich. You have the present sandwich between the past, which is gone, and the future, which hasn't come. And as soon as your mind is thinking about the past or planning for the future, how to do it better, now I've understood more about how you are, I'll be able to speak to you in a better way. We're constructing some template or some map of the territory, and we've lost the territory itself, because the territory is ungraspable. So, for the ego, knowledge is a great friend. For the practice of awareness, knowledge is not exactly the enemy, but it's something unreliable. And so don't put too much weight on it. Nothing is out with or outside of the Dharma. So when we read the Heart Sutra or some of the longer Prajnaparamita texts, they give lists of so many different kinds of phenomena and experiences, and always say this is inseparable from emptiness, not other than emptiness. That is the central point. Whatever occurs is like a mirage. As in the traditional example, the wave is not other than the ocean. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. The wave is the ocean is the wave. This is not homogenizing experience. We're not saying all is one. Manifestly, through your senses, you see, you experience, you hear diversity. But this is the diversity of emptiness. It is ungraspable. So if we go to the heart of our own open, empty awareness, we don't have to waste so much energy in trying to work out what is the right thing to do. So the next question is how to stabilize the lucid aspect of the dream so that I don't wake up immediately. There's when my awareness stopped identifying with my dream body, there was the appearance of white light, but then I awoke. There are many ways of responding to this kind of question. For us on this, with this view of Dzogchen, the key thing is not to grasp at any situation which occurs. Sometimes the mind is clear, sometimes it's not clear. Sometimes we seem to be more present in the dream, and sometimes we're just immersed in it, and then we wake up and we don't know what happened. So what we looked at with the previous question is don't go after past experience, don't wait expectantly for future experience. Lucid dreams are better than dull dreams. So I want to have more lucid dreams. So then one night I'm aware, oh, my mind is very clear and bright, and then I feel very good. I am making some progress. But where are we going? The central question is, where are we? We're here, now. And in this space of clarity, all kinds of different experiences arise. So in this famous aspiration of Samantabhadra, he says, there is one ground and two paths. And these two paths bring two kinds of result. The fact that there are two paths doesn't mean that there are two grounds or two bases or two sources. Whether we see the nature of the ground and see that everything is within it, or we are unaware of the ground and imagine all kinds of separate real entities, there is no true difference. Experience is ungraspable. If you have good experiences and you want more of them, that is samsara. If you have bad or difficult experiences, a lot of conflict in a family, or sickness, or poverty, or injury, and you think this is very bad and I want less of it, then you are in samsara. Again, it's not to homogenize things. We're not putting samsara nirvana into the blender and making some kind of drink. Pain and pleasure are not the same. And yet they are the same. Because they are empty of inherent existence. They have no individual core or essence or existence which sets them apart from anything else which is occurring. So if you want to have more lucid dream experiences, there are many techniques to learn. You can focus on this chakra point just above the eyebrows as you're falling asleep, and imagine a small ball of white light. And as soon as you become present with the dream, relax more and more, don't try to control what's occurring, and so on. But we have to remember that The nature of samsara is compoundedness. It is the same. We gather together the things that we think fit. We put all the apples in one pile and all the potatoes in another pile. So we create a relative truth clarity by separation and organization. There is no end to this kind of activity. So, however our life is, if we are present here and now in this, exactly on this point is infinite. In the Tibetan texts, they often use this technical term toktu, which means on. Means you are on the point of the emergence of how the ground source shows itself. This is beyond relative truth, because this point is not in relation to anything else. This point contains everything. It is the whole. It is so tiny and so vast. So again and again, we have to go back to Garab Dorji and look at his three basic instructions. It says, wake up to your own face. Your face is always here. Your original face, which is the unborn clarity of awareness. And he says, when you see this, when you're on this point, don't think about it. Don't try to improve it or adjust it. And stay with this point, moment by moment by moment by moment. There is nowhere else to go. You're here. This is it. Well, that's Garab Dorji's third point. Don't chase after something else. We're not looking for something. We're not accumulating good things and trying to get rid of bad things. The self-arising or the instant manifestation and the self-liberation or the instant vanishing of each and every moment is exactly always on this point, which is here, which is our mind. So then the next question is, we live in wild and dreadful times, and for we humans have brought the world and nature into a catastrophic state. How can one keep one's inner balance in the face of such events so as not to stumble either into the clear yet cold light of wisdom, nor into the warm yet sentimental perception of compassion? Okay, yeah, okay. How can one keep one's inner balance in the face of such events so as not to stumble either into the clear yet cold light of wisdom, nor into the warm yet sentimental perception of compassion? So hopefully from what we've already looked at this evening, we can see that this is a very beautiful question, but it's also a question which is locked inside its own erroneous assumptions. Of course, the general Buddhist understanding of cause and effect can be applied to climate change and to wars and to the manifestations of hatred and greed. And that view has some illuminating capacity, but its shadow side is the fantasy of mastery. If only we all tried harder, we could make a wonderful world. I don't think the Buddha ever said this. Even in the Mahayana texts, they say, go to Dzogchen, go to Zangdo-Pauli. There are nice places, but they're not called Gaza. They're not called Russia. They're not called England. We need to study all the 9 yanas of Dharma together. All compounded things are impermanent. At this moment in China, in the areas that were formerly called Tibet, there is a lot of suppression of traditional culture and education due to the manifesting of various factors, dependent origination. There were many hundreds of years where the circumstances for Dharma practice were very positive, very supportive, but that has changed. And now it's very difficult for many people to practice any Dharma at all, or even to speak their mother tongue. So if we want to enter into the heart of Dzogchen, the first is to see nothing is real. Experience is not real. It's not a thing. It's not something existing in and of itself. Our world is like space with wind blowing in it. Economies develop and collapse. Countries become powerful and then lose their power. Many European countries had large colonies, Spain, Portugal, France, England. These are gone. They were not real. They were patterns of manifesting developed on the basis of moment by moment decisions, manifesting within the frame of duality. The ground or source of both wisdom and compassion is the mind. We have a mind. What is our mind? How is our mind? Thoughts come and go. Feelings come and go. Memories come and go. Plans come and go. My mind is a site or a situation in which there is a ceaseless flow of bright sparks or shining light. We are going to die. We live in cultures dedicated to exteriorization. We think about economics, we think about geopolitics. This is based on thoughts, on knowledge, on information. The transient content of the mind, the patterning of the potential of the mind. But the mind is not a compounded thing. The Buddha mind is not made by accumulating good thoughts, and the mind of being in the hell realms is not made by accumulating negative thoughts. Stay present with your mind itself. We're here. I'm talking. There's sound. The sound comes out in a linear movement, word after word. Just as thoughts have a linear thing. Like the Tibetans, they say, lugugud, it's like a row of sheep walking along the edge of a hill. That is what is occurring. It is movement. The movement is only possible because of the stillness and the silence and the openness of the mind itself. What is called the Dharmakaya, or the mind of the Buddha, is not different from your own mind. It is the aspect of your mind which never moves. But it's not just a big empty space. We have the Sambhogakaya, this realm of luminosity or clarity within which there is the bright precision of each ungraspable moment. And then, as we move in the world, we have the experience of the co-emergence of what we take to be self and other. This is difficult to understand, or rather difficult to be with, because it's our normal experience. I am walking down the street. The street is here, and I am walking down the street. My body moves, but the houses don't move. This is a reasonable sentence to say. But what I take to be the stability of the house is my concept of the house. The house, as revealed to me moment by moment, emerges from my participation with the potential of the house. Well, you're on the pavement and you're passing a parked car. You might recognize the make of the car. You trust that you know this car is red in color. It looks like a new car or an old car, an expensive car or a cheap car. What you don't experience is the car itself. You experience your mind's interpretation of the car. The car for you is your own mental activity. The car is the movement of your mind, even although it's parked and not being driven. In terms of being present, of being aware with the unfolding of the ceaseless flow of experience, there is no such thing as a car. In this way, we can see the mind reifies or fabricates the notion of real existing separate entities. We imagine these things. Now, that doesn't mean that each of us is some amazing magician who can invent motor cars and airplanes and a nice bag of chips to eat because I'm getting a bit hungry. What it means is that the world is not made of things, but is the site, the multiple site of the potential which reveals aspects of itself through our participation. We know this. We probably have friends, some who are very interested in music or in football or in fashion, and we think, oh, okay, but not for me. So without dualizing this, if you like, on the subject side, this patterning of my potential meets patterns of the potential of the world, and that is my life. The potential of football doesn't speak to me, but it speaks to many, many people. So when they know that an important match is going to happen, they become excited and they think if they can get a ticket. And if I learn that there is going to be a big football match, my potential manifests as a concern. Will the train be full of people? Will I be able to get a seat? So if you stay present with yourself, you will see moment by moment the infinite variety of potential manifests through our participation. This is the meaning of the Nirmanakaya. So each of these moments of your life is just this. And if you stay talked to on the point of the emergence of just this, it is beyond comparing and contrasting. This is everything. This is all there is. But this is not fixed. It changes through participation. So in terms of the question, many terrible things happen in the world. There's a lot of suffering, rape, murder, torture. Each of these is experience. If somebody beats you, you feel fear arising, then you feel physical pain. If you are raped, the felt sense of the integrity of your own embodiment is undermined because people are putting things into your body that you don't want. There is an occurrence and it's gone. If we stay with the sight of emergence, however life is emerging, it's just like this. And always our encouragement for the practice is to embrace everything. Don't enter into judgment. So, to go back to where I began this evening, I'm sitting here with a lot of itchiness and irritation on my skin. This is my moment. This is my life. If I conceptualize it, I can feel persecuted, or I can get a diagnosis from the doctor. And through the objectification of what is occurring, I can say, this is happening to me. But this is me. How long it will last, I don't know. For many years, I didn't have a skin like this, and now I have a skin like this. The diversity and complexity of experience is without limit. The openness of our awareness is not different from the source of everything. When you look for the mind, you can't find it. And yet experience is ceaselessly unfolding. So we're here. This is it. We are right on this moment, this infinite moment, and whatever comes, comes. Whatever goes, goes. The content is always changing. Remain at peace, at ease, as the openness of the mind, and allow the flow of experience to come and go. Okay, so this is the end for this evening. Very nice to see your faces. The teaching is very straightforward, but our ego self is not so straightforward. Too much thinking leads nowhere. But we are the fortunate ones who have access to the lineage of Padmasambhava and Garab Dorje and Samantabhadra. So if we return to the source, and we return to the source, we will then find we have never actually left the source. Well, I wish you all good fortune with this practice. And if you're free, this Saturday we'll be doing the final part of the Doha from Virupa. Wish you good luck with your practice.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Good day.
Big
Thank you,
yes.
organizers.
Thank you.
Thanks to our translators and all the people who help us to function.
Thank you so much.
Bye for now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Ciao.